Yo, fellas, how you doing this morning? You doing all right? All right. So welcome to this new session. Last week we were dealing with, in this case, politics, and also we were dealing with some metalinguistic contents pertaining to unit number 1. Let me share my screen with you guys. Here we go. Here, the calendar. Today is 29th of September, so we are just here this week. So we should have started unit number 2, society and media, and we should be studying academic writing in this case, for and against essays, newspapers, and television, and imperatives, right? But before that, we need to pretty much close and wrap up unit number 1. You already delivered, in this case, or hand-in assessment number 1, short story. So I'm gonna give you your marks. Hopefully next week. And if not, I guess I'm gonna use, in this case, the next week and the autonomous work week to grade and correct your short stories, all right? But you're gonna have your grades in October, pretty much. Regarding the contents, let's say politics and bureaucracy and reciprocal pronouns, comparative or equivalence, movement prepositions, and etc. They are all contained in this capsule that I recorded last 24th of September. So it's right here, pretty much everything which is missing from unit number 1. But I'm going to review quickly anyway the contents of this capsule, and then we can start unit number 2. Okay, so in regard to reciprocal pronouns, they're not exactly the same as reflexive pronouns, because reflexive pronouns are in this case myself, yourself, themself, itself, herself, blah blah blah, and also they can be used as intensive pronouns to put more emphasis on the subject. All right, and we were talking about this on previous sessions, but now we're going to talk about reciprocal pronouns. So what are reciprocal pronouns? We use them when the subject and object are the same people, but you're referring to the two-way relationship, or more, in this case, people. In this case, for example, for 2 people, we say Tom and Sarah work with each other in this case. So we're talking about how they work together and how they interact with each other in this case. But this is for 2 people, all right? They love each other, they hate each other, they help each other, always 2 people. But when we say one another, we're talking about 3 or more people in this case. Now, many times you can see, for example, each other and one another used as synonyms and interchangeably. That's possible only in some contexts, right? So, for example, work in a group or work in teams, help one another. Como ayúdense entre ustedes, because that's 3 or more people in this case. Now, sometimes we include or we say one another with 2 or more people, but it's always groups of people. It's like 2 or more, I would say. That's more precise, right? 2 or more people for one another, all right? You can say love one another, ¿cierto? Como ámense. Or you can say help one another, like in this case, ayúdense. Also, when my family had dinner, we told one another about our jobs in this case. So normally when we talk about family, we talk about groups of people at the table in this case. And como que nos contamos qué hicimos en el trabajo, hablamos sobre nuestro trabajo, ¿cierto? Entre doles. So we told one another about our jobs. All right. Guys, if you got any questions, any comments, just type them in the chat box, or just use the microphone and you can interrupt me anytime. So this is pretty much about reciprocal pronouns. Okay. In regard to the next topic, which is comparatives of equality, we have the structure here, which is as plus adjective plus as, or not so plus adjective plus as, or not as plus adjective plus as. So for example, he's as tall as me. So we're saying that two people got pretty much the same quality, the same characteristic. Or he isn't so tall as me, or he isn't as tall as me. So in this case, we indicate difference, right? Regarding, in this case, the height. Normally this may happen in American English. He isn't so tall as me, but British English, normally they say that this is using so in this case is incorrect. Okay, but you can see a lot of people in America saying he isn't so cool, as he says, right? Or he isn't as cool as he says, right? But a lot of people says he isn't so cool, right? So differences between American and British English, right? Using he isn't so is more American. What else? More examples. Compare two things which are the same in the positive degree in this case, with as plus adjective plus as. The blue ball is as big as the red ball in this case, right? Tan grande como la otra. Here, compare two things which are not the same in the negative degree or connotation. The green ball is not as big as the blue ball, or the green ball is not so big as the blue ball. Just so you can see that you can use both. Okay. What else? If you read British books, this is not going to be the same, because they only accept saying the green ball is not as big as the blue ball, right? Cool. Any questions so far? So far, so good. Maybe con un dedito para arriba sería suficiente. Thumbs up. There you go. Thank you, Anais, for your thumb. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot. All right. Now, so plus, in this case, adjective, in this case. Well, so and such, right? I'm going to explain how to use them in context. We normally use so plus adjective in this case to intensify or magnify the quality of the adjective. For example, Tom seems so happy in this case. So in this case, we are using so as an adverb, which intensifies the quality of happiness, right? So plus adverb in this case, the adverb refers to the verb, okay? So we are intensifying or magnifying the quality of the speaking in this case. The teacher was speaking so loudly in this case, right? And also we can use so plus judgmental adjective. So normally this is not nice, but it happens, right? You're so stupid. Or you can say you're so smart, but in that case it is judgmental, but not in a negative connotation, right? But normally when we say judgmental, it's because it has a negative connotation. You're so stupid, you're so blah, 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 blah. Not nice to say, of course, not recommended to say, but it happens. What else? Such in this case. Such plus an plus adjective plus noun. So in this case, we use such plus singular nouns and an adjective. He's such an intelligent boy, for example. He's such a nice person. She is such a she is such a nice person. She is such a smart person, for example. Yeah, such plus an plus adjective plus noun. Next use, such plus judgmental noun. For example, don't be such a fool, you know, versus judgmental adjective. Okay, this is not the same as so. We use a noun here. Don't be such a fool. So in this case, singular noun again, but I'm not saying that such is used only for singular nouns, because you can say such plus plural nouns too. Such plus plural nouns. So for example, you can say they are such intelligent people. They are such intelligent people. All right. That's possible. Absolutely, correct to say that. And final use in this case, such plus an plus noun, which is pretty much similar to the previous examples. Why did you say such a thing? Oh, well, you can say, why did you say such a, in this case, such a comment, right? And or why did you say such comments in plural, right? So when we use plural nouns, we eliminate a or an. Remember that, okay? Why did you say such lies, for example? All right. Or if you're using, in this case, if you say, if you use uncannibal nouns, uncannibal in this case, we don't use a or an, right? We say, for example, why did you say such bullshit? But bullshit in this case is uncountable, right? It's a concept. It's an abstract noun, right? We don't say a bullshit. We say just bullshit. All right. Or bull crap, some people say. All right. So uncountable nouns in this case never take a. I'm gonna read the chat in this case. Like nonsense. Exactly. Why do you say such nonsense? Okay, uncountable, right? We only use an plus singular countable nouns. So this is very important regarding grammar in this case. It's accuracy. It's to be precise with the language. Okay, what else? We use, in this case, much, many, few, little. Yeah, we can say so much, so many, so few, so little. It's not very common to say so few, so little. All right. It's more normal to say so much and so many. All right. Before nouns, of course, we can use so. And we use them with plural countable or uncountable nouns. Okay. Plural countable or uncountable nouns. Example, they have so many children. Okay. This is horrible in this case. It's terrible. It's unpardonable sin because we're it's children's, but I mean, this is wrong. It's only children without the S. All right. Bueno, por suerte no hice yo este chart. Lo hizo English Study Page. Anyway. Pero children's nunca se usa ese, ¿ya? Porque children ya es plural. What else? Any comments so far? Any questions? So far, so good. I guess so far, so good. Movement preposition. I mean, all of this content is already on the capsule that I uploaded on September 24th, right? You can double check the content right there. And of course, you can do the exercises on UCampus. Let me show you the exercises. There's a lot of material around here for you guys to click on and do exercises. For example, I see some people clicking on here, which is good. So you can practice with reflexive and reciprocal pronouns here. Also, you can see here the use of as, so as plus adjective, so such, okay, collective nouns and definite articles. Y no puse nada sobre movement prepositions. Oh my goodness. Tengo que poner algo sobre prepositions of movement, ¿cierto? Se me olvidó, no lo puse. Oh, tengo que poner. Ya. Entonces, regarding, in this case, movement prepositions, we only use, for example, into, out of, around, away, toward, pass, onto, off, over, under, through, across. In this case, up and down the stairs. In this case, up and down. We use these prepositions of movement with verbs of movement, right? Or action verbs. For example, go, drive, speak. No, not speak. No, sorry. Drive, walk, go, fly, run, crawl, etc., etc. That denote movement, physical movement. And for example, the mouse, in this case, ran into the box. The mouse went into the box. Or the cat walked around the box. Or the cat went around the box, crawled around the box, etc. All right. Here, the bird is flying away from the box. The birds are coming toward the box. The bird is flying past the box, and so on. Right? Jump. The frog is jumping onto the box. The frog is jumping off the box, etc. Right? And movement. I mean, contrary to steady verbs or static or stative verbs, which are, for example, be, like, which in this case describe as state, not movement. All right. Enjoy, for example, and feel. Okay. We don't say, for example, feeling into, or feeling in this case onto. It's impossible, right? It's not possible. Or, for example, prepositions of movement are in some way different from prepositions of location. When we, for example, use in, for example, in is different from into. In is a steady position in time space. So we say the mouse is in the box because we think about the mouse as inside the box, but like steady, right? But when we use into or out of, we imagine the mouse moving, like going into or coming out of, right? So that's the difference. Any questions so far? So far, so good. Any jokes? Any complaints? No, nothing? All right. Here, articles. Ya, todo esto es de la unidad 1, ¿cierto? Que lo puse en la cápsula, pero lo estoy repasando rápido para poder pasar a la unidad 2. Partamos con zero article in this case. ¿Qué es lo que es un zero article? Básicamente no hay artículos, no se usan artículos. ¿Cuándo pasa esto? When we speak in general, we don't need articles. I mean, plurals in general. For example, Coats are useful in winter. We don't say the coats are useful in winter because I'm talking about coats in general. I'm talking about all the coats around the world. When I talk about, when I mention all the coats around the world, I say only coats. Coats are useful in winter. Or for example, dogs are friendly, cats are cute, and so on. People are, in general, complicated, right? So I'm not talking about any specific group of people or any specific group of dogs and stuff like that. Okay, so when I use the, you know, por eso se llama definite article, because I'm talking about a very specific thing. Or for example, with countries, we don't need the with most countries. Portugal is a nice country. Chile is a long country. China is a big country. Russia is a beautiful country, and so on. The only exception in this case with using the with countries is when the country, the name of the country has the at the beginning. The United States of America, for example. The United States of America, the United Arab, in this case, Emirates, or for example, the UK, or the United Kingdom. What else? Etc. etc. You know, countries which in this case start with the in their names. What else? Oh, with proper names. For example, in Chile, normally we say, oye, háblale a la Camila. O avísale, o el Samuel viene mañana. O por example, for example, no, si fue la Anaís la que envió el mensaje. Entonces, we normally use, in this case, definite articles with people in Spanish, but that never, ever happens in English. Never. Not in this universe. All right? So it's impossible to say de Camila, the Caroline, de Pola, de Benja. You will never hear that. Period. All right? I mean, if you want to tell jokes with that, that's okay, because I've always told jokes about that, you know. But dice, odio eso en español. Entonces, claro, la Anaís escribió esto en el chat. I'm just kidding. But it happens, you know, it happens a lot. All right. Mi señora se ríe a veces porque yo digo, claro, yo no, a veces como que omito, pero inconscientemente el o la, te fijas, con los nombres propios. Entonces, me dice, vos sos raro, me dice. Y yo le explico, no, lo que pasa es que en inglés, ya, pero está ahí en Chile, pues habla español, me dice, entonces, tú voy a decir la Constanza, está bien. Entonces, no, pero Constanza dijo, o Constanza me dijo, no sé, pero sale inconsciente, ¿no? Espérate. Dice, pero suena más lindo sin el la. Claro, correcto. Sí, es como decir, por ejemplo, con las dobles negaciones, like double negatives, por ejemplo. Nunca he escuchado a otros países decir latino el la, ¿viste? Y it even sounds fancy. Yes, exactly. That's right. De hecho, por ejemplo, a mí me pasa que no es que yo me crea gringo, si son cosas que pasan, no pasan qué cosas. Entonces, oye, no entiendo nada. Entonces, esa doble negación no tiene sentido en English. Uno dice, I understand nothing from this, right? Or I understand nothing about it. So English is more precise in that case. In Spanish is like, oh, no entiendo nada. Entonces, if you say that in English, I don't understand nothing, the connotation is different. It's like you normally say I understand nothing or I don't understand anything, right? Or I don't want anything from you, for example. I don't want anything. Or I want nothing. You know, I don't need anything and stuff like that. But we don't practice that double negatives in English. Negativo por negativo a positivo, dicen matemática, claro. ¿Cachai? No, por eso una regla de la lógica también. Entonces, and it happens sometimes es como uno dice, yo no sé algo, y uno cuando dice en español es yo no sé algo, ¿cómo decir yo no sé nada? No, porque tú estás ahí, la doble negación significa que entonces es positivo. Entonces como, what? Pero anyway, if we say I don't understand nothing, we fall into an existential loop. Absolutely, that's pretty much like for the Marvel universe. You know, tell that to Doctor Strange. So, what is nothing exactly? Yeah, is nothing real? All right. So, apart from this existential, in this case, you know, a discussion, we got indefinite articles in this case, which the rule here is A plus consonant sound and N plus vowel sound. All right, that's the rule. Okay, normally it is taught like A plus consonant, N plus vowel, and then we give the exceptions. So which are the exceptions in this case? A uniform, for example, a uniform, a universe, a university. And some people say, oh, A plus, but why a university? Because it's in this case A plus consonant and U is a vowel. Yeah, but we're talking about the sound, because the sound U, it's consonantic or semi-vowel, right? So it's a university, because U it's closer to a consonant, right? And here N plus vowel sound. So we say an honest person, or we say, for example, an hour, right? An honest person in this case, because H is muted, right? H is muted in this case, an honest person, an hour, etc., 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 right? And in this case, regarding definite articles, we use the when we talk about something for the second time. For example, I bought a dress and a skirt. The dress was very expensive. Okay, so I know which dress I'm talking about. Like everybody knows what we're talking about. So in that case, the dress, the skirt, etc. It's very specific. Also, we use the with one unique thing. For example, the sun is burning my skin. The moon is shining, for example. The earth in this case is spinning, etc., etc. So in that case, we're talking about our earth, our sun, and our moon. All right. And also, it is clear what we're talking about from the situation. For example, pass me the salt. We know that salt is uncountable, right? Just like sugar. or beer, for example. When we say, pass me the beer, right? Maybe there are many bottles of beer, but you just say, pass me the beer, because we know what we're talking about. Just give me a bottle of beer, right? And so on. And we use the with expressions, specific and already made expressions, like play the piano, go to the doctor, go to the cinema, in the south of Chile, etc., etc., right? Esa es la forma que se dicen, son idiomatic expressions, right? And that's it. That's pretty much about it. When we say, for example, the coach, like the boys, we are talking about a very specific group of coats and a very specific group of boys. All right, the girls, las chicas, 5 girls, which we already know. Okay, any questions so far? Any comments? All right, so far so good. Let's move on in this case with collective nouns, and this is pretty much the last content from unit number 1. Okay, collective nouns in this case are nouns which work as unities or units. All right. One unity of people, one unity in this case of animals, and unity of things. And I say unity because is like it could be, for example, I don't know, 18 million people. That's a country, right? Same here, a band of men, right? A cast of actors, stack of librarians, centers of judges, galaxy of beauties, of galaxy of stars, bevy of girls, choir of singers, haggle smokers, colony of gulls, brood of hens, flight of birds, flock of turkeys, group of guinea pigs, litter of cubs, kennel of dogs, slaughter of birds, right? La jauría, dice acá, ¿cierto? Kennel of dogs. Batch of cakes, bottle of milk, but in this case, they are pretty much like containers, right? Bottle of milk, bowl of rice, box of cereal, can of soda, carton of milk, and a cup of tea in this case. But they belong to the collective nouns. Okay. So that's pretty much about unit number 1. All right. So I strongly recommend to you to do the exercises here. Collective nouns, definite articles, etc. I need to add prepositions of movement and so on. So now, if there are no extra comments or questions, let's get into unit number 2. All right. Again, unit number 2 in this case is about society and media. And we're going to study about for and against essays, newspapers and television, and imperatives. We got 5 minutes left to introduce, in this case, the topic. So for and against essays. You know that there is one line in this case of work regarding academic writing. For example, I got the short stories. Short stories, are a different piece of writing. It's more creative, more informal in this case. By the way, I'm going to give you your mark. Creo que ya les dije ya que las notas se las entrego, yo creo que si no es la otra semana, de aquí a la otra. O sea, a todo reventar 2 semanas más, ¿ya? So, regarding for and against essays, a for and against essay is a formal piece of writing in this case. It's a formal piece of writing in which we discuss one topic using, in this case, citations, and we analyze and discuss one controversy, for example, from 2, in this case, antagonic points of view, right? Hold on, give me a second to find for and against essays. Da-da-dee-da-da-da. All right, here we got a good definition here. Well, this presentation is mine, right? For and against essay is a formal piece of writing again. Esto ya lo dije, ¿cierto? Oh, this is pretty much the structure of a for and against essay, right? We got an introductory paragraph in which we clearly state the topic to be discussed without giving your opinion. So this is very difficult in this case to do, because in for and against essays, we only give our personal opinion in the conclusion. We do not give personal opinions in the introduction or the central paragraphs, right? Therefore, we do not use, for example, personal pronouns like I or we. We normally use third person singular or third person plural. Let's say he, she, it, or they. Okay. What else? A main body in which the points for and against along with your justifications, example, or reasons are presented in separate paragraphs. So, for example, for and against essay may have 4 paragraphs, 5 paragraphs, 6 paragraphs, etc. But normally, paragraph number 1 is the introduction, and the last paragraph is the conclusion. And you can have intermediate paragraphs, which can be 2, 3, 4, whatever you want. Okay. But the distribution of words should be equivalent in this case. So, for example, if the first paragraph has 100 words, all the rest of the paragraphs should have 100 words. Okay. If the first paragraph has 200 words, the same for the rest. All right. What else? I mean, body closing paragraph in which you state your opinion or give a balanced consideration of a topic, of the topic. So, for example, if I want to ask about, for example, migration rights, in this case, I need to consider, in this case, the pros and the cons, right? The opinions for and the opinions against migration. I know you have and I have our personal point of view about migration rights, immigrants and stuff like that. But when we are dealing with any topic, and this is the difficult mental exercise, right? The in this case, intellectual exercise is to express, only to present the arguments, right, for and against, and then in the last paragraph you state your personal, in this case, or political stance about immigration, for example, right? So when you're dealing, for example, in the paragraphs with the different political positions, you have to quote, I quote Diputado Schalper, for example. Maybe we're not a fan of Schalper, but we have to quote him according to APA. And we want to, and then quote, I don't know, any other political figure, or I don't know, in this case, if we want to quote pro-immigrant, movements, like the Haitian representative for Haitian, in this case, immigrants, we quote his, in this case, argument, and so on, right? Oh, note in this case, opinion words like I think, I believe, in my opinion, can only be used in the closing paragraph where you give your personal opinion. Yeah. Crystal clear. What else? Points to consider before you start writing your essay. You should make a list of the points for and against. Yes, that's a good piece of advice. Each paragraph should start with a topic sentence which summarizes the topic of the paragraph. For example, in addition, many people feel reading is a relaxing and worthwhile activity. So very important. We need to practice and study connectors. You know, connectors, expressions, which in this case give us a sense of cohesion in the text, right? And firstly, secondly, in summary, in conclusion, in addition, moreover, therefore, etc., etc. On one hand, on the other hand, right? And we need to revise that time. Also, we do not use informal style. For example, short forms or contractions, colloquial language, or strong language like swear language and swear words and stuff like that. I know, for example, is we don't use I know, right? Express your opinion in a non-emotional way. For example, it seems that I therefore feel in the conclusion, right? But we don't use like the language I know, right? What else? Well-known quotations relevant to the topic, you know, using APA. Tenemos que repasar la norma APAS, digamos, como para poder escribir bien este ensayo, ¿cierto? And, oh, ya me pasé, sorry. Tienen que pararme. Profe, cállese. Les doy permiso. O sea, please shut up. Sí, ya nos pasamos harto. Ok, entonces, para ir cerrando. Next class, which is tomorrow. Vamos a seguir viendo unit number 2. Ya, si quieren revisar cosas de la unidad 1, está todo en un campus, ya, para que revisen. Y vamos a seguir hablando acerca de essays y los metalinguistic contents from unit number 2. Okay, any questions, any comments before we finish? All good? Estamos bien, dice. Estamos de Panini. All right. Profesor de Short Story, dígame. Todos me mandaron sus short stories. Si saben de alguien que no me la haya enviado, por favor que me la envíe igual nomás. No va a tener un 7, pero mejor que un 1. Profe, al entregar la short story olvidé poner el archivo que era de otro tema. Ay, no caché cómo. Short story olvidé poner el archivo que era de otro tema. Bueno, ya, o sea, corrígelo, hace las correcciones que tengas que hacer al respecto y me lo mandáis nomás, Anaís. Ya, porque ya había intención de envío de tu parte, así que de cualquier cosa que tengas que cambiar o hacer, lo haces y me lo envías nomás de nuevo. Eso, voy a empezar a corregir las short stories, así que no problem, Anaís. Lo más probable es que, como les digo, voy a empezar esta semana a corregir y ojalá terminar para la otra semana, si no, yo cacho que va a quedar para la semana de receso. Recuerden que la semana de receso, si mal no recuerdo, empieza el 11. ¿Ya? Esa semana del 11 hasta el 15 va a ser semana de receso. Ya, y sería. Thank you very much. Have a great day. And, se me olvida. Tenía que avisarles si lo hacía distinto porque hice sobre Ray Brad. No importa. Sí, ya habíamos hablado de que si lo hacen de otra cosa, denle nomás para adelante. ¿Ya? ¿Tenemos ayudantes este semestre o aún no? Todavía no. O sea, se abrieron las inscripciones, ¿cierto? Para ayudantes. Pero todavía no me han dicho quiénes fueron seleccionados y quiénes van a trabajar con nosotros, ¿ya? Pero lo más probable es que sí tengamos como para octubre. What else? Recuerden que yo voy a empezar a ir presencialmente los martes y los viernes por ahora, ya de 12 a 5. Ayer fui, les mandé una fotito ahí para que conozcan el PEDA. Tengo algunas fotitos más que les voy a mandar después. El viernes voy de nuevo de 2 a 5. Recuerden que para los que quieran ir a darse una vueltita por último, tienen que inscribirse en el link que les mandé en el grupo de WhatsApp para que tengan registro de ustedes, ¿ya? Y para los que quieran tener una clase o tutoría, que yo creo que va a ser a todo rentar, vamos a hacer, no vamos a estar 3 horas ahí, o sea, estar, no sé, para que valga la pena quizá 1 hora y media, ¿ya? Eh, y tienen que inscribirse conmigo, indicando su nombre completo y root, porque ese dato, nombre completo y root, lo tengo que mandar en una planilla ya hoy, porque es con 48 horas de anticipación. Entonces, yo hoy, antes de las 6 de la tarde, tienen que mandarme los que van a ir. Si no va nadie, no importa, está bien, yo voy a ir igual. Eh, y esa planilla yo la mando hoy día para que en la entrada, cuando nos controlen, sus nombres estén ahí. ¿Ya? Uh, eso, ¿ya? Take care, have a great day, and see you around. Bye bye.
No, profe, estoy bien.
Chabela igual. Sayonara des.